Hi guys, June Slater is back, the self-described Chief Gammon. Her words, not mine. Anyway, in the space of 2 minutes, she was able to mention how Rishi Sunak doesn't believe in Brexit, how his government is a socialist one, lockdowns also got a shout out, and there was even time to talk about Nicola Sturgeon. Who is this person and why is she invited on to present such unhinged opinions? And of course, these unhinged opinions go unchallenged. Have a listen to this.
Someone needs to do two things here. First of all, inform Rishi Sunak he's not running the country, Jeremy Hunt is. And Rishi Sunak, if you want to be credible on any level, respect the Brexit voting nation that you've took over.
What are you talking about? Respect the Brexit voting nation. Does she understand that Rishi Sunak campaigned for Brexit? He's not a Ramoner or a Remainer. He campaigned for Brexit. There's clips online of him in cheesy adverts for Vote Leave or Leave EU. I don't remember which it was. He campaigned for Brexit, okay? Now, he hasn't come out and said Brexit was a mistake. He hasn't criticised Brexit in any way. He's actually said, yeah, Brexit has been a success. And there are huge opportunities. He obviously can't give any examples because there aren't any. But he hasn't said anything about rejoining the EU or aligning with the single market. He hasn't said any of these things. So where's she getting these ideas from?
Because we don't want to stay aligned with Europe. There is absolutely no point in being out but aligned. We have got the biggest chances here of exploiting the fact we're an independent sovereign state. And if the
what opportunities? Exploiting. This is once again this wonderful thing that Brexiteers will present. We're not getting the right Brexit. We hoped to get the right Brexit with Boris Johnson, but we didn't. We were hoping to get the right Brexit with Liz Truss, but we didn't. We were hoping to get the right Brexit with Rishi Sunak, but we didn't. What is the right Brexit? And also, you know, it's quite condescending and insulting to say that the UK is now sovereign when it was always sovereign. And you know, an extension of that would be to say that countries like Ireland or Denmark or Germany or France are not sovereign. Because if the UK is now sovereign, according to Brexiteers, well, it wasn't sovereign before, and countries like Ireland and the others I gave as examples are not sovereign either.
The Tories don't pull this off. I mean, this Conservative Democratic organisation is trying to work from within the party because they actually recognise the fact that grassroots Tories have been completely overlooked. Now, when you...
Grassroots Tories. Do you know who's involved in this campaign? One of the guys, one of the leaders, Lord, what's his name? Caracas or something, I forget. He's somebody who donated about £3 million to the Conservative Party and was put in the House of Lords. Yes, these are people talking about democracy. We need to return democracy to the Conservative Party, and it's led by a guy who donated money to the Conservative Party and was put in the House of Lords.
You say grassroots Tories, these are people that have fundraised, that have stood as councillors, that believe in freedom, that believe in a sovereign nation, and that believe in small business enterprise, allowing people to be the best they can be whilst they're in this country. Unfortunately, we've got a socialist coup. This is a coup. Whatever you think.
Now, is she joking? She has to be joking. A socialist coup. So, sorry, is it Rishi Sunak that's in charge or Jeremy Corbyn? Because she seems to think that they're probably pretty much the same thing. You have a multimillionaire who's married to a billionaire who was a non-dom at one stage and she renounced it recently, running the country, and she's claiming that Rishi Sunak is in some way a socialist, or his government is socialist. I would love to see some examples of that.
I think is happening with this country. This is not how it's supposed to be. And the reason that Boris Johnson was hounded by the mainstream media, excluding GB News, of course, is because they didn't want a conduit for Brexit. They wanted him out. And all the same...
Do you know that Steve Baker was one of the people who asked Boris Johnson to resign? I think also David Davis said It's up. The game is up. You have to go. These are the people who said Boris Johnson had to go. Members of his own party, Brexiteers. But of course, these types of people will always say, well, it was the Ramoners that kicked Boris out because he was delivering Brexit and they didn't want him to deliver Brexit. They wanted to get back into the EU. Who are these people? Because if you name people like David Davis and Brexit hardman Steve Baker, doesn't really suit your narrative, does it?
Voices are asked for their opinion. They've now got shut of Boris, so they see it as safe ground to instigate returning to the European Union. So you have two choices.
So the UK is on the way back into the European Union via Rishi Sunak, a guy who campaigned for Brexit. Look, I understand the reality on the ground that, businesses are struggling. I presume June is not struggling, but businesses are struggling. They would like to undo a lot of the damage Brexit is doing. For example, the paperwork that's involved, the declarations, the checks, the costs related to Brexit, the fact that they can't get the workers they need. Many businesses would like to undo that. And the government are starting to realise that the wheels are coming off this idea. It was an idea to get them into power. They didn't really have a plan for what would come after that.
First of all, remember there is no left and right parties anymore. That's finished. It's over. Forget it. If you're voting Conservative because you think you're going to get right wing, you are not. You are going to get mediocre socialism. They've done everything.
Wouldn't it be better to have real socialism instead of mediocre socialism?
Everything that the socialists wanted. That's why our opposition has been completely 100% useless in this last 3 years. They've stood up to none of the mandates that were passed. And
here we go. And here we have it. And this is the question I have. Why are so many Brexiteers also crazy about lockdowns? Why are so many Brexiteers insane when it comes to issues of masks? Could somebody please answer me that question?
Just as an example, one of the most valuable reads anybody can have right now is the article in The Spectator written by Isabel Oakeshott. Because all our opinions about what's gone on and how we've had no democracy and draconian laws over this last 3 years.
She doesn't care about people being not allowed to protest. She's not talking here about laws, a law created against friend of the show Steve Bray. No, it's not about that. It's about lockdowns. These people are insane when it comes to lockdown. The lockdowns are over. Like, if the government was trying to usher in some sort of fascist state, why did they stop? We have this all over the world. These crazy people who say, "Oh, these lockdowns were an attempt to take away our freedoms and turn our countries into a fascist state." But then why do the lockdowns end? Why are you allowed to go around without a mask now? In some places, it's expected that you continue to wear one, but not to the same extent during the middle of the pandemic. These people were trying to convince everyone there is, this fascist state is coming to take away all your freedoms, and it's going to turn the country into a sort of prison. And then why did they stop? It doesn't make any sense.
What's gone on with that article? It's turned it into evidence. It's Matt Hancock's own testimony. It's his words. It's not my opinion. It's not your opinion. It's Matt Hancock's own words that he masked children to go to school to save an argument with little Nicola Sturgeon.
I don't know why Nicola Sturgeon was mentioned here. Nicola Sturgeon, of course, has to be brought in, by the Brexiteers for some reason because they hate her. Nicola Sturgeon, was it because she was supportive of encouraging people to wear masks during a pandemic? That in some way makes her, open season. There's open season on her or something like that. Completely unhinged. And once again, unchallenged. At no stage did somebody interrupt and say, sorry, what are you talking about? Or, sorry, please explain. Insanity. Sorry it went on for about 10 minutes, guys, but I think I had to respond to this. It's more and more unhinged the further you go in. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.